everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Sarkis, and we have Greg with us. We also have a special guest with us here today, Darren Dunckel, and he's with Septimo.
El Septimo, yes.
Septimo. Darren, just of course, before we start, I just want to have a disclosure that we're not advertising smoking, and that none of the things you see today, as far as our guest as well, it's not paid advertising. So we're here just to share information about cigar business, in everything that involves in cigar business, right? It could be, for example, funding. It could be going to public, advertising, and so on and so forth. With that, Darren, just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you landed in the cigar field, and, of course, in the company that we're representing today.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you, Greg and Sarkis, for inviting me on today. My background, just to give you a quick span of my life, I grew up in Texas. I came to Los Angeles in 1987, went to USC, started my career with Lehman Brothers while still attending USC, and I've been in kind of the finance sector. I consult public companies. I started smoking cigars in 1993, and so I've been smoking for a little over 30 years. And so that's how I got into smoking was when I was 23, 24 years old. I was at the Peninsula Hotel bar back when you could smoke in California at bars. And I was there, and Milton Berle was there with his wife sitting in the corner at their usual table. He was smoking a cigar. Ron Perlman was there smoking a cigar. I got talking to them, and I said, this is something I have to try. And my first cigar was a Monte Cristo No. 2. And so that's how I got started smoking.
Wow. I mean, everybody lends somewhere, right? Earlier we were talking about the social aspect of it, right? And especially today, it's our 10th episode, so we're kind of celebrating it while smoking.
Treating
ourselves a little bit here, celebratory. And, of course, we're here at Cohiba de Cuba, which is a cigar lounge that we always come here, and we have, they have great cigars, so we kind of smoke here. What is, El Septimo? What is the, how does the brand differ from other brands? What is it special about it, or is it, some of the things? What are the things that?
Well, a little bit of history about the company. The company was started in 2005 in Geneva, Switzerland. It was the funding was backed by the Saudi king at the time, King Abdullah. And he established the company to create the greatest cigars on earth. And he put them, at task to find the best tobacco around the world and to create cigars for him and the royal families. And so that's how the company started in 2005. And they sourced tobacco from Cuba, from Honduras, Dominican Republic, all the major regions. They were simply looking for the best tobacco. It didn't, the region wasn't the priority. The best tobacco was the priority. And so it was a boutique, very limited production cigar company up until 2019, when the current owner, La Maison Yonen, which was founded and owned by Zaya Yonen. He bought the company in 2019 because he was introduced to the cigar by King Abdullah, and he couldn't get the cigar anyplace. He's a longtime cigar smoker, over 40 years smoking cigars, and very passionate about cigars and all things luxury. And so when he couldn't get the cigar, he flew to Geneva. I think he probably got the owner drunk and bought the company from him at that time. And since then, in September of 2021, by then he had increased production of cigars. He increased the number of lines of cigars, and he brought it to the United States in September 2021. And so it's only been in the States for about a little over 3 years now. It's one of the fastest growing cigar brand in the country, in the world. And so that's how the company got started and where we are today.
Interesting. Well, I know it was a hobby in the beginning for you. Well, what would you say that was the turning point for you? That were like, you know what, I want to get into this business.
Yeah, great question. And so For me, over the years, I smoked, various amounts, depending, in the beginning, I was, probably 5 or 6 cigars a week. And then I went through phases where I was maybe only 1 or 2 cigars a month. And there would be months, several months where I wouldn't smoke at all. And so it never was something where, I felt like I was addicted or had to have it. It's not like, drugs or things like that, or cigarettes where you have that addiction factor. But in 2020, I joined a lounge in Hollywood. It was called Ash. And by joining that, it gave me a place where I could go smoke. Prior to that, I'd buy boxes and I smoked I had a ranch that I'd smoke out on the ranch while working the ranch. But so once I joined the cigar lounge, I found a great place to meet people, network. And that's one of the great things about cigar lounges is they're a real community of people. And I've been to cigar lounges all over the world, and I found the same type of camaraderie every place I went. I tell people all the time that cigars are the greatest product created by God for connecting people. Breaks down socioeconomic barriers, age barriers, race barriers, gender barriers. Mm-hmm. None of that matters when you're smoking a cigar. Everybody's the same. Everybody, gets along. You have interesting conversations. It's something when you sit down for a cigar, it's about relaxing and enjoying what you're doing, and that opens you up to be more open to connect with people and to communicate. And that's one of the things I love about being part of the culture. But back to your question of how I got more involved, and so I joined this lounge in Hollywood, Ash, in 2020, and then in 2023. The lounge that I was a member of was taken over by a company called Septimo, which is these cigars. And through that, I met the owners, Yonan. We became friends. And my background, as I said before, was finance, private equity, investing in companies, consulting companies. And so I learned more about the businesses that he was involved in. He owns 8 hotels in Europe, all former palaces that he converted into hotels. He owns 4 vineyards in Saint-Emilion Grand Cru in France, which is known as one of the best wine regions in the world. He owns a luxury design company in Paris and the cigar company. And so I started talking to him. I said, you have the core of a luxury lifestyle company. You should really roll up all these companies and take it public and acquire more companies and compete with Louis Vuitton, Moet Chandon. And at first he was reluctant, but over time he started to like the idea. He's very passionate about luxury and luxury items and the luxury business. And so in March of this year, he asked me to come on board and help him to organize the companies to take it public in 2 to 3 years. And so that's what got me more involved. But over the past couple of years, I've been smoking more and more. And one of the things that was kind of a limiting factor in the past was if I smoked more than 2 cigars, I would wake up with kind of a raw feeling in my throat. And I just thought, that's part of it. You got to take the good with the bad. But what Zaya explained to me is he said, it might be your body reacting negatively to chemicals and pesticides that are sometimes used in other cigar brands. And he said, our cigars, they're all natural, no chemicals, no pesticides. And I was skeptical. I said, okay, well, we'll see. And so, I smoked 2 cigars with no issues, 3 cigars, 4 cigars. I've had as many as 9 cigars in a day, and I've never woken up with that raw feeling in my throat. And so for me, this is the cigar brand for me. Now I typically smoke because of my involvement with the company. I spend a lot of times in lots of different lounges. I go to 4 or 5 different lounges every day. I smoke 4 or 5 cigars a day, every day, 7 days a week. And again, it's never had that negative impact for me. And so, since May of last year, so long before I started with the company, I've only smoked El Septimo cigars. I've only had 3 other cigars other than El Septimo. They were Cuban cigars that I got in Havana when I went there in 2022, December of 2022. And I didn't enjoy them at all. It was kind of crazy because they were the best cigars.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the Cubans, right? When you go to different countries where they have Cubans, most of the time they're the cheapest ones out there. And when here, I mean, in the U.S., obviously, probably it's illegal. That is what makes it a little bit sweeter, or there's actually truth to it.
Well, I mean, historically, I mean, cigars were basically, originated from Cuba. And for a very long time, the majority of the premium cigars were all made in Cuba. And so it had that aura. And then you add, the embargo that the U.S. Put on Cuba in the 60s. And, you created that, forbidden fruit. That we all humans, I think, want it more what
Exactly.
they can't have. And for many years, they were the best cigars. But I think what you'll find now, for a few reasons, is that there's great cigars made from tobacco leaves from all different regions. Part of what goes into that is when the Cubans who were making the cigars for generations saw what was happening with Castro coming in and taking over, is they packed up all their seeds and they took all their tobacco and they moved to the Dominican Republic, to Honduras, to Nicaragua, to all these regions, and they took their seeds and they started planting them there. And so over time, those seeds have matured. They've adapted to the different soils and climates of those regions. And so you get great cigars from all different regions now. One of the things that makes our cigars a little bit different than most other companies, most companies do what we call puro, which means one region's leaf. And so Nicaraguan, all the leaves, the filler, the binder, the wrapper, they're all from Nicaragua. And so you get the flavor.
There's no cross.
Sensation. There's no cross. But what we do is we blend tobaccos from different regions to try and get extra flavor out of it. Now, it can be a little tricky because not all of, it's kind of like chemicals, where some chemicals don't react well with others, and trying to find the right mix. It's Zaya describes it as making a gourmet dinner, where you're adding a little salt, you're adding pepper, you're adding seasonings and different things to get the right flavor. But if you don't do it right, what you end up with is terrible, make you sick. And so there's a real art to creating the right blend for the cigars. And so that's one of the things that makes this company a little bit different.
Interesting.
Yeah, and also, one of the things I always think about is whenever it comes to cigars and new companies, is the difficulty of bringing it into the market because of advertising and marketing. You guys, how is it mostly just hitting the shops and hitting the smoke shops and things like that as like lounges, or you guys do other things that are more creative and things like that in that nature?
Yeah, no, I mean,
How do you guys go around it?
It's a lot of people don't realize, or they don't pay attention that you cannot advertise tobacco products. You can't be in any magazines other than magazines that are specific for tobacco. Cigar aficionados, cigar and spirits, and so those are places where you can advertise, but none of the social media sites allow you to advertise on them. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can't advertise cigars, and a lot of times, if you're posting if you're doing a lot of posts that include cigars, they'll shadow ban you, or they'll do things to limit who can see the fact that you are smoking. We do rely very heavily on social media. Zaya's got over 1 million followers. He's a very interesting and fascinating guy, great personality, and people are drawn to him, and that's happens in social media. He posts a lot on social media. His Instagram is El Septimo CEO, and he shockingly responds to anybody who DMs him. Sometimes I'll get messages from him in the middle of the night where he's up answering Instagram posts or sending a message. He's a workhorse, and is very passionate about the cigar brand, and our little luxury brands.
Yeah, cigars are tricky for me too. When I'm smoking, a lot of times if I don't smoke the right cigar or the cigar that fits me, as far as when I'm smoking, I have a horrible reaction to it. Sometimes we're to a point where like you just want to throw up. It's just crazy.
Yeah, no, and that's there's lots of things that react with your body. It might be that somehow you got a bad leaf, or I've seen cases where companies they are too quick to get to production, and they end up with things like the tobacco beetle, you know, laying eggs in the cigars. I mean, just things that, you know, would make you sick alone. But, you know, chemicals and pesticides. I mean, pesticides is, you know, it's liquefied horse and cow manure. And unlike, you know, with our fruits and vegetables that we wash off before we eat them, with tobaccos, you don't wash it off. And so when you light up a cigar that they've used pesticides on, you're literally smoking
directly
horse and cow manure. And so that's, you know, a lot of the cigars that, you know, have that smell that's often associated with cigars is because of that's what you're smoking. And so that, you know, causes people to get sick. But everybody's different. Everybody has different flavor palettes. And so, you know, I don't go around saying, oh, you know, what you're smoking is terrible and ours is better. You know, we make great blends of cigars. They're very tasty. No chemicals, no pesticides. But what you like, I may not like. And what I like, you may not like.
Everybody's taste is different.
And so everybody's taste is different. And so I don't, you know, tell people, oh, you know, ours is better than yours. I can tell you, we make great cigars. Try it. If you like it, great. If you don't like the one you smoked, we've got 55 different blends. And so I'm sure that we've got some blend
you gotta have to go through it.
But, you know, I'd love for you to go to it. You can start it. You know, we've got cigars in California that range from $11 to $136. Start at the $136 one and work your way down. And once you find the one that you like, keep smoking. You know, because smoking it's such a great thing for relaxing.
And it's you know what, because when you smoke cigarettes, I used to smoke cigarettes. I hate smoking cigarettes, you know, because not only, you know, like a lot of the cigar factor is when you're sitting with people, because it takes an hour and a half sometimes to smoke one cigar. In 1.5 hours, you have to talk to somebody. Either, let's say, if there's nobody here, you're talking to the person that's here, that's working here, or the owner of the place. So you get to know people. I have friends that literally spend most of their times, I think probably more than their family, they spend it on smoke shop, you know. And there's one friend that everywhere I go, there's one shop in Glendale. Every time that I've been there before, like, you know, before this opened up, and the guy was there, I'm like, man, how many times do you come here? It's like, it's not how many times I come here, it's how long I'm here. You know, because it's like, you know, it's just every single day. There was never a time down. If you want to find him, that's a guarantee. You can go from 11 to whatever time it closes. He probably will be there. It's insane.
Yeah, no, it's such a great experience going to lounges, and so, you know, I would encourage people to go there. But your comparison with cigarettes, I mean, with cigarettes, it's about how fast you can get through it. And you know, I met a girl in Dallas who was working at a cigar lounge, and I was talking to her about, you know, smoking cigars, and she said she'd never smoked one. So I was like, you know, you should try it. It's really a great experience, not only because it relaxes you and it's an enjoyable thing that you take your time with. It's not something you rush through. Nobody grabs a cigar and says, oh my God, I got to smoke through this really quickly. You just don't do that. And so it's a relaxing thing. But she said, okay, so how do I hit this? I'm like, no, slow down. you don't hit a cigar. You puff a cigar. You enjoy it. You know, you take your time with it. You don't hit it.
Don't inhale, right?
You know, okay. And of course she said, okay, and she hits it and she starts coughing. And I'm like, I told you, you don't hit that. You don't inhale it. It's about drawing it in slowly, blowing it out slowly. You know, it's that process that you go through.
It's interesting how, you know, when cigarette smokers, they just hit it right away, and then they're like, you know what, I hate cigars right away. Like, you didn't even smoke it correctly, then you expect to like the cigar?
Because they don't inhale it, because when they inhale it, that the cigars is all about the inhaling it, because that's how you get satisfied. Cigars, you don't inhale it, it's just there's the ambiance and all the things into it and the taste of it, right?
The goal is to bring the smoke into your mouth so that you can enjoy the taste. Some people who smoked a long time or haven't smoked a long time, they do a thing called retrohaling, where they allow the smoke to go from their mouth and out through their nose, you know, not into their lungs, but out through their nose. And, you know, you've got so many taste buds that are actually in your nose that it allows them to get enhancement on the flavor. I don't do that kind of thing when I smoke. For me, smoking, it's simply about enjoyment.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself as having a great palate where I can pick out leather and chocolate and nuts and all those things. For me, that's too much thinking when I'm smoking. For me, smoking, I smoke it.
Keep it simple.
I either enjoy it or I don't. If I put it out, if I don't like it, I put it out and move on to the next one. If I do, I just sit and enjoy it. I can taste the difference between the different cigars, but I can't tell you what the difference is because it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. I have a funny story about that. When I used to smoke, we went to this cigar lounge, and it was just maybe about 50 people smoking in the room, and the room was filled with, with smoke, and the ventilation wasn't that great. So, I mean, you can barely see, probably it was a big space. You can barely see the person at the end of in the room, right? So it's just pitch smoke. And I lit up a cigarette, and I'm smoking. And everybody, like literally everybody was like, who the, and they start cussing, like, who the hell is smoking this crap? Get the hell out of it. I'm like, man, it's a smoking room. He goes, no, this is only for cigars. Do not. Well, they kicked me out of a cigar room, smoking room, to outside for me to smoke my cigarette.
Yep.
And I was like, this is crazy. But then, when you stop smoking, and even if you do smoke cigars, the smoke of a cigarette is nasty.
Well, that's because they have chemicals and pesticides on them. I mean, cigarettes are the different. You look at it, if you lit up a cigar and you lit up a cigarette, the cigarette would burn out very quickly because of all the chemicals and pesticides. It just burns through it.
Yeah.
You light a cigar, you leave it down. It's not going to burn to the end without you. It's going to burn out. Because it doesn't have those chemicals to fuel the fire. And so that's it's my belief that a lot of the issues with cancer come not from the tobacco leaf, but come from the chemicals that are used in things like cigarettes. I mean, our bodies weren't meant to bring that in.
Yeah. Look at marijuana.
Yeah.
Right? So people smoke for what? For medical reasons. Like even they say, pain or so, whatever it might be, right? But there's actually, if they're smoking, they don't talk about that being harmful.
Correct.
As far as
it's a natural
smoke.
plant.
Exactly. So it's just the chemicals of the cigarettes. And also George Burns.
Yep.
And one of the things is I always tell this to everybody when they were talking about smoking. George Burns was on Johnny Carson. And Johnny Carson asked him, man, how many do you smoke? He's like, I don't know, probably 12 a day or something, because he's always had a cigar in his mouth. He goes, what do your doctors say? He goes, I don't know. They all died. So he outlived all his doctors,
Yep.
right? So I think moderation is the key, right? Everything you do, like smoking, drinking.
Everybody's body is different. You need to listen to your body.
Yeah.
If your body's telling you, if you're coughing, you're either not doing it right or that's your body saying, no, this isn't good for me.
Exactly.
People should listen to their bodies more. Their bodies will tell them, what's a good thing and what's not a good thing for them. For me, my body has told me, okay, the cigars you were smoking before are not good. We don't want those. But this cigar we enjoy, and so you can keep smoking it. And it's kind of. It was funny to me because since I started smoking more, I actually, crazily enough, last May I got to the heaviest I ever was in terms of weight. And I didn't know why or whatever. And I'm very adamant about, I eat whatever I want to eat. Life's about enjoyment for me. And so I'm not going to, everybody, I drink a lot of Coca-Cola. And so, people say, oh, don't drink so many Cokes. You need to cut that down and all these types of things. I'm like, listen. If I got to, drink Cokes for 50 years, I'm 56 years old, and if I trade, 4 or 5 years at the end for that, that's a good trade for me, and so I'm okay with that. But and so when I started smoking a little bit more, I noticed that it actually curbed my appetite, and so I typically have one meal a day, and 4 cigars a day. I lost 40 pounds, and I've been able to maintain that. I was basically losing about 10 pounds a month for 4 months, and then I've just kind of maintained that weight I don't change what I'm eating.
Yeah.
I eat out at restaurants for every meal. I eat, sometimes fast food, and so it's just I eat everything I want, but I'm able to be at a good weight for me. and I think it's because of the cigars. They curb my appetite.
Yeah. I think when I do fasting, it always helps me too. When like coffee and like cigars, when you smoke it, you don't feel the urge to eat. It kind of
Yep.
Kills the urge.
yeah, it goes. That's why a lot of people say, man, if I quit smoking, like I know
You're
a
gonna
lot of
get
people,
weight.
they're like, if I quit smoking, I will lose. I will gain so much weight. I've tried it, and it's even worse for me because now I have this sickness. They have that. I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess choose your poison, right?
Oh, but I think that's a lot of times associated with quitting cigarette smoking.
Yeah.
And so what I would suggest that they try switching to cigar smoking. Because you're not having the natural cigars. You don't have the chemicals and pesticides, which are, I believe, a health problem. The cigar, smoking will the nicotine will curb your appetite, and so you won't be getting the bad part of smoking. You'll be getting the good part of
Yeah.
cigar smoking, curbing your appetite. It also nicotine, it expands your arteries, and this is one of the reasons that Michael Jordan, would always smoke. He'd smoke before practice, after practice, before games, after games. Is it actually increases your blood flow, which allows oxygen to travel throughout your body better.
Oh wow.
And so it's it's actually a health benefit of cigar smoking that nobody ever talks about. But I haven't done any research to know if that's true or not true.
Yeah.
Maybe they're legends, urban legends or whatever. I don't know for a fact. I just know how it affects my body,
Exactly.
and I know that it reduces stress. I'm not stressed when I'm smoking a cigar, which is also a result of increasing oxygen throughout your body, and lowers your blood pressure. And so I don't know if one creates the other or not. I just know how my body reacts to it.
Yeah.
So that's how I live my life.
That's I mean the cigars. I mean I don't think for me when I started quitting cigarettes, one of the things I used to do every 6 months, because when you're doing quitting, it's the hardest part about it is the first, probably I will say the 6 month mark when you come in, your
Right.
urges are there. You're like literally you're dreaming about smoking, and you wake up, you thought you smoked, and you believe like, oh my god, it was a dream. It's okay. But for me, I used to smoke one cigar every 6 months, or whenever I had the urges to do smoke or
Right.
wanted to smoke, I did a cigar, and that urge was gone, and then I was like clear. And then that's what after 1 year, I haven't smoked since 2013. So over 10 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And all I do is cigars once in a every maybe 2 months, 1 month, once or so. Kind of enjoy it, because you come here. When I come here, I just relax.
Relax.
People come in, you meet people, and we were talking about that, and it says, what? It's just probably cigar lounges were one of the first social networks that were ever created.
Yeah, I wish we could go back to just that.
Right? Yeah, and everything, cigar lounges, the taverns, right? Everything happened in those taverns. All the intelligent people. Intelligence used to be linked to what? Cigars, wine, and all that stuff. So I think it's it's something like it's good as long as I don't think you do it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, everybody needs to figure out what's right for them.
Yeah.
And so I don't try and tell anybody else what's going to be right for them. I don't judge anybody for what they've decided is right for them. I mean, for me, cigars is something I enjoy. I believe it enhances my life, not only through the relaxation, but through the people that I've met. And I've met amazing people from around the world smoking cigars.
That's
And
how
so-
we met.
Yeah,
right?
no,
You
absolutely.
came
I
to
mean,
a
we
cigar.
the likelihood
That's
that
why-
we would meet,
very-
just out there, unless we got into an accident on the freeway or something.
Knock on wood.
We probably wouldn't have met. But
That's not a good circumstance.
I've met so many amazing people from all walks of life smoking cigars.
About 4 months ago, we met somebody here. This guy was an older gentleman in his maybe late 70s, right? And he started talking about stuff that we're doing, and he went into a direction we had no idea, right? If you weren't here or somewhere else, wouldn't have the time to give to this person to look at to see what they're doing. And he ended up he talked about what he used to do, like legally, and to the high end of like crime lords and stuff
Right.
like that. And he's like, yeah, he was so much better those days. I wish, it's like, now I don't do anything. I'm like, I hope so. You're like,
Retired now.
yeah, retired. But you meet so many people, from all walks of life. You don't know who's sitting next to you at a cigar lounge.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely, and it can be the very wealthy person or someone with less means, but it's a luxury. It's not something that your body. It's not like oxygen or water, something that you have to have. It's not like and not everybody has to work. It's not like work where you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's something that you've decided to do, and it's a gift to yourself. I consider it a gift to myself that I reward myself for being a better man, or to encourage myself to be a better man. I make the joke that because I'm out on the freeways here in LA all the time, is that the way I keep myself from killing somebody out there is I have the reward of a cigar for not doing that, for not acting on that. But yeah, no, all
Smoke
kidding
before you
aside,
drive.
is it it's something that you do for yourself, and that's just a great thing. Everybody should do that. Do something for themselves. They got to believe that they deserve to have nice things. Even if it's a $5, $2 cigar. I mean, or any type of thing. Everybody should reward themselves for being a good person, or trying to be a good person, trying to be a better person. Which is so important to me.
I mean, it's so many different aspects to it. It just even when I go to different locations, I don't know anybody. We were in San Francisco.
Right.
We went to a few lounges and stuff like that, and then everybody's talking to everybody. And it's especially nowadays, nobody wants to talk to anybody, right? Everything is like
On the
a
phones.
social thing. And when you go to a cigar lounge, it's like totally different ballgame. Sometimes if you're antisocial, cigar lounges are not for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the thing
You don't
about
wanna
it
be
is,
hiding.
you've got your different groups. If you go into a lounge that has lots of customers in it, but if you go in, if you say, do you mind if I sit down and join you? And almost every time they'll invite you in and include you in the conversation. They want to know about you.
Exactly.
Which is that's something that we've lost in our society a little bit with the social media. Is this disconnection from human connection, which is so important to all of us, and that human connection helps to get you over depression and different things that people are going through. So if you're going through depression, go to a cigar lounge. I think it'll help. It won't hurt.
Depressed, smoke a cigar.
You don't
And
have
when
to smoke.
And when you get there, buy a El Septimo cigar. We'll see, and then let me know if it works.
I want to circle back to your financial background. You say you were in the financial industry. We are as well in the life insurance industry. Whenever you were younger, would you ever have thought, what, I'll have a vineyard one day, or I'll be a cigar company owner one day? Has that ever crossed your mind?
Well, the thing that's fascinating to me, so the magazine, The Rob Report, which is a luxury lifestyle magazine. It reports on the best in all luxury categories, from cars to planes to jewelry to cigars to wine to everything. I got my first issue when I was 11 years old. I'll never forget, August 1980.
Oh, wow.
I got my first issue of Rob Report, and so for me, being where I am now, I believe that everything in my life has led up to this moment and prepared me for this opportunity to be a part of this luxury lifestyle company. I make fun of my mom, because at the time, in 1980, this was a $5 magazine, which was unheard of at the time. That was very expensive for a magazine. And they had the opportunity to get a lifetime subscription for $350.
Oh, wow.
And I tell people that the only bad advice my mom ever gave me was, do not get a lifetime subscription. And because of that, it's cost me thousands upon thousands of dollars to continue to subscribe to that magazine for over 40 years now. But I love it. It's such a great thing. And so being a part of that is really a lifelong dream. And so, being in finance was just kind of a way to get to here, not knowing that this is where I would end up, and not knowing that, I felt so passionate about it. Just, I always was, when I think back, luxury has always been something I've enjoyed. And so having the opportunity with El Septimo and working with Zaya is just really, really a fantastic thing for me and a blessing.
Wow. The wine, I got to tell you, the wine is amazing.
Well, thank you. One of the things that a lot of people don't know, everybody thinks and talks about, pairing their cigars with whiskey and things like that. But one of the best things to pair your cigar with is white wine. When you smoke a cigar, because of the fire and the heat associated with it, it raises your body temperature a little bit. When you drink white wine, that's chilled, it actually brings your body temperature back down. And so, and that's why, sometimes, and people that negatively impact if you're outside and it's really hot and you smoke a cigar, you might get a little ill because, your body's overheating. And so, pair some white wine or champagne with it. Whiskey, oddly enough, because, it's higher in alcohol content, it actually numbs your taste buds. And so you actually can't taste as many flavors when you're pairing it with whiskey. And so everybody's doing that, and yet it's actually causing them to taste less of the cigar and more of the whiskey, which is okay.
More than they get smoked.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just you're not tasting all the flavors that a cigar might have when you do that. But I have a couple odd habits. There's one cigar that we have. It's called Empress Sheba. That I always like. It's a mild to mild plus cigar, Honduras wrapper. It's got great tobacco in it. It's a 6x60, so a little bit bigger gauge cigar. But I like to pair it in the summertime with a vanilla shake, and in the wintertime with hot chocolate with El Septimo's cognac in it. For some reason, I tried that one time with the hot chocolate first, and then it was the summertime. I'm like, I don't want a hot chocolate and cognac today. I wonder what this would taste like with the vanilla shake. And for me, it just causes the flavors to explode in my mouth. And so, but the problem is I won't smoke that cigar unless I have access to either the vanilla shake or the hot chocolate with cognac. Luckily enough for me, the lounge I go to in Hollywood, which is now called El Septimo Hollywood, there's a Baskin Robbins right around the corner. So I'll walk over there. I'll get a large vanilla shake, and I'll smoke the Sheba. And so for me, it's kind of this event for me to smoke it. And luckily, the cigars are curbing my appetite because I'm having vanilla shakes 2 or 3 times a week, and I haven't had any adverse effects with my weight.
I know, like they talk about cigars, and when we're talking about advertising, right? They're not allowing it, but then there's like if you look at it, more people are harmed by actual drugs, than legal drugs, that are advertised every day on television, yet they're allowing that to happen. But certain things, back in the days, I'd say in the 80s and so on and so forth, you look at videos and movies, they're smoking in a doctor's office.
Yeah.
Right?
No, the doctor's smoking while doing the evaluation.
Or on the plane.
Yeah, they used to smoke. When we came to this country, they used to have a smoking area.
Yeah,
in the plane. And you're like, how the hell do you have a smoking area in the plane? Because it's in the same room.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, they had first class. Thank you very much. In first class, you had non-smoking, and then you had a row or two of smoking. And then you had coach, which had non-smoking area and then smoking in the back. And so it was mixed throughout. But that was cigarette smoking, too. I don't know.
Yeah, it's insane, right? It's the same room. You still can't smoke. I mean, I used to remember when you used to go into airplanes, you used to, smell the smoke.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the kids.
I haven't had to. I didn't have that time for me to enjoy that.
Yeah, it was just it was even restaurants. You used to have non-smoking and smoking, but it was like a section of it. And nowadays even they have airports have it, but you don't want to even go in there and smoke because man, the smoke is so bad.
Well, and it's cigarette smoke, which
Yeah, it's
again
horrible.
I think is the real problem. Not to offend the cigarette companies, but for me, and I've never smoked cigarettes. I've never smoked anything. I've never done any drugs other than cigars. Cigars and alcohol are kind of the two drugs. If you consider them both drugs that I've done. I don't even. I think I probably only had 5 Tylenol or Advil in my entire life.
Oh wow.
Wow,
And
interesting.
I don't I don't get sick. I don't have issues. I didn't have any. I got COVID at least twice, never with any symptoms. But that's the way my body's built. That's how my body's evolved, and so not everybody's body is the same. And
Yeah.
so I don't judge people. What they want to do with their bodies is up to them. But for me, cigars would be tough for me to say no. I don't want that in my life anymore. Not because I crave it. What I crave is the relaxation that I get.
Yeah.
And the connection with other people that I get smoking cigars.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like just the relaxing part of it because you calm down. You don't think about anything. You're just cut away from the world.
Yeah.
For 1 hour or 1.5 hours that you're sitting there. When even before, when this Cohiba de Cuba didn't exist, I used to go down on Lancashire and stuff, and I used to take my computer, get a cigar. I used to get more work done
Yeah.
in that 1 hour if there was nobody else around. And then somebody came in, I said, "What do you do?" And then all of a sudden they're like, "Okay, no more work." It's all about we talk for an hour and a half, 2, and then you're like, "Holy cow!" It's 3 hours into the whole conversation, and your day is gone. You're like, "Oh, I gotta go."
Yeah, no, I mean we at the office, we have a lounge at the office, a private lounge out in Woodland Hills, and middle of the day we'll go down, we'll have a cigar, we go back up, and we're energized. We come back down at 4 or 5, we have another cigar, and we go back up and work. We're energized, and so it really is a great a motivator for what you're doing, and so you're able to get through more work. If I have a lot of work that I'm doing on the computer, data entry or research reports or things like that, I do it with a cigar because I'm able to focus better.
I have a quick question for you. You've sat down with a lot of people in your life. You were in the financial industry, you own a cigar company, you own a winery. What was the best advice that you have gotten throughout your whole life?
Well, really, I mean the best advice, and I was truly blessed to have amazing parents. They both passed away too early, but and that was that I can accomplish anything. I can be anything that I want to be, but it takes 2 things. It takes time and effort. And the challenge is not knowing how much time it's going to take or how much effort you have to put into it in order to achieve what you want to achieve. But I truly believe that you can accomplish anything, but you got to put in the time and you got to put in the effort. And so over my lifetime, and I think I said I'm 56 years old, I've added a third thing to that, and that is find something that you're passionate about. Because no matter what you're doing, you're going to go through tough times. Even if you were born wealthy or born poor, there's going to be challenges in your life. But if you're passionate about what you want to become, that'll drive you to put in the time, to put in the effort that is necessary to push on towards that thing that you want to do, the thing that you want to be. And so I just, it's the best advice I got was be passionate about something, put in the time, put in the effort. And I tell people I've got 6 kids, 6 boys, excuse me. And, what I try and teach them is that, you're going to go through difficult times and you got to push through it. And you're going to face challenges in your life. But always remember, and I think that we lack some of this in society, is I tell them, you are enough just as you are. You don't need likes on Facebook. You don't need, comments and positive affirmations from other people. You are enough just as you are. You want to improve who you are. You know, I look in the mirror every day and I say, I want to be a better man than I was yesterday. I'm not always successful. That just makes the next day easier. But, you know, that I know that I am enough, just as I am, and everybody is. You know, that's the way. For me, that's the way God made us. Is that we're all perfect, but we want to improve on that perfection. That we're enough. We don't need other people to tell us we're enough. We need to start by telling ourselves we're enough.
Yeah. Unfortunately, nowadays everybody's focused on
likes,
exactly.
Comments, and all of the attention that there is on social media.
Yeah. If people don't get likes, they're like, look at all this, all these young kids, young adults, right? Like, they're showing off things just to get likes.
Yeah. No,
to
I
get
mean,
attention. But I always say, that it's not the right attention you're seeking. But it just for them it doesn't matter. They do anything almost to get that attention. They're hungry for attention.
Yeah, no, and a lot of times the people that they want attention from are not the right people for them. You know, if you're having to pretend to be somebody to attract somebody's attention, that's not who you want in your life. If you feel comfortable with yourself and you go out into the world with that intention, you'll attract people that will like you for who you are. That want to be around you for who you are. And if you got people that want to be around you for this person you're pretending to be, that's the saddest thing in the world. Yeah. And so but you got to start with believing in yourself that you are enough as you are, that you can do whatever you want to do. Yes, different people have different things that they started off with, benefits or they have advantages over that, but having an advantage sometimes is actually a disadvantage. Because some of the greatest people that have existed on earth, they have overcome significant struggles. That's those struggles that you go through give you the strength and the belief that you can accomplish more. I mean, I've had many challenges in my life, although I was blessed, being born into the family that I was, and that I had parents that were supportive of me and supportive of my dreams. And not everybody has that. And, for that, those people, I feel for them. Yeah. But they also, to be successful, it's within them. They have that capability. They can do it in spite of being born into a situation that is less than optimal, less than perfect. And most people are actually born into those situations versus born into the perfect situation. But the greatest joy I get in my life is overcoming, succeeding in things. If things are just given to you, you don't get that sense of gratification of succeeding.
The value,
and that's that's a tragedy in and of itself.
Yeah, and a lot of that's what it was. There was one person stating like how, let's say for example, immigrant parents that come here, they do everything to succeed, and then they succeed. They said, "Hey, you know what? I struggled all this time because I didn't have money, I didn't have this, I didn't have that. You know what? I want to make sure my kids don't suffer or they don't struggle." And then what happens is they give everything to their kids. Now they're saying, hey, how come this kid is so lazy?
Yeah.
They're lazy. They don't want to work. They always say, right? You don't want to work. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. Because you know what? They were just given everything because out of their own guilt, because they didn't have, how you don't get, let's say you didn't have toys. You didn't get to grow up in a home where they had all the stuff. And then when you have money, then you're like, you know what? I'm going to get everything my kid wants, right? And then the kid grows up and you're like, why don't you appreciate it? Yeah. You're this, you're that. But then you realize the problem wasn't having everything. The problem is having the ability to do things, to get things done.
Yeah, no, and having that struggle and that gratification of overcoming that struggle and the self-confidence that comes from overcoming struggle. Yeah. That's a gift. But, too many people look at it as, oh, I'm a victim, woe is me. Yeah. I wish you could tell them, listen, turn that around. Every challenge you reach, every difficult thing you're going through, that's a gift for you. Yeah. God is giving you that so that you can show yourself that you can overcome it. And by overcoming that, you can overcome things even greater than that. You know, I stress very little in my life because of challenge that I went through in my lifetime. Because I look at all my problems now, and it's not because of money or anything like that. I mean, money does not remove you from problems. There will always be problems. But I know the things that I've overcome in the past, and the problems that I go through or face now, they're very small compared to the challenges I had to overcome in my past.
Yeah.
And so it's that, that those were absolute gifts to me, because now, I feel like I'm unstoppable. There's nothing I can't do because of the things I've done in the past. And I tell my kids, and I tell anybody who will listen, if the problem you're facing is greater than any problem you've faced in the past, break it down. Take that first step. Okay, what's the first step of solving this problem? Okay, I've overcome something bigger than that first step. And then the next step. Okay, now you're starting to pile those on top of each other, and pretty soon the challenges that you've overcome are now bigger than the challenges in front of you.
Yeah.
And then, once you get past that as a whole, now you've got a huge challenge. Now you've got this bank, in your mind of capabilities, of what you're capable. And we're all capable of so much.
Yeah.
I think we keep ourselves. The worst enemy we have is ourselves, because other than that, nobody can stop you from doing. Because if you look at it, a lot of people started from, especially this country, they started from zero. You see them become millionaires and even trillionaires or whatever, because of the belief that they had in themselves.
Yes.
I think it starts there, and it's hard because everybody is putting you down.
Yeah. No, but that's
Ambition.
That's the thing is that I wish I could tell every person is, listen, you are good enough as you are. You can accomplish anything that you want. It doesn't matter what other people say. You have that. All of us have it within us to accomplish what we want to. Time and effort, and find something you're passionate about to carry you through those tough times.
Yeah, because if you don't like something, oh my God, you're not gonna.
Yeah, no, you're gonna run away from it.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Quitting something, isn't necessarily. You sometimes you start off, you think it's the right path, but it's not.
Yeah.
And what will tell you that if it's the right path or not is if you quit in those moments of struggle. You didn't really want that bad enough. That wasn't for you, which isn't a bad thing. The key is to find the thing that is your passion that you enjoy.
And so you have to go through those.
But you got to go through struggles.
Right?
You're not going to find a path, to the end of the rainbow with the pot of gold without going through struggles. If that's what you're looking for is a struggle-less life, you're not going to end up anywhere.
Yeah.
Which means your struggles are going to be even greater.
Yeah. There's this one on Joe Rogan. There was a guest. I forgot. There's a celebrity. He said, my parents thought moving to Santa Barbara, Montecito area, will be the best thing for the kids and all that stuff because of, crime is all the stuff, safety, right? He goes, the craziest thing is that out of the 50 friends that I had, 36 of them have died from drugs.
Yeah.
Overdoses. He goes, 36 of them. And you will think that's the best place to do it, right? And all of them there have what? Money.
Yeah.
And sometimes money brings in where, the kids look at it in a different way, right? They say, I cannot achieve what he can achieve.
Yeah, they're overshadowed, or they feel like they're overshadowed by their parents. They have easy access to, as I said before, for me, the greatest joy is overcoming challenges. And if they never had the ability to overcome challenges, they're seeking that joy from something else.
Yeah.
Something that's not natural, something that, they're trying to get that feeling and that feeling of self-worth that really, that feeling of self-worth comes from accomplishing something. And so that's what they've lacked, is because everything has been given to them, that they're seeking that feeling that it feels like to accomplish something, and nothing can replace it.
Yeah.
I don't think, like I said, I've never done any drugs, but I don't think there's any drug out there that's going to make me feel like I feel when I accomplish something.
Yeah.
I've overcome something huge.
Now, if somebody, let's say, goes into this industry, what advice do you give them? Let's say if it's a newcomer, depending on if they're, let's say, promoting cigars, they're working with the cigar company. What is some of the things that you suggest or you will give advice to someone?
Well, it is a challenging business, and in a lot of ways, I'm shocked that this company has had the success that they've had, because when you go into a humidor, there's 100 different boxes of cigars, and you don't know which one is right for you. And while the person who's working there may give you a recommendation, they don't know your palate. And so they don't, know what to recommend. And so, getting, and what I've found in going out to different lounges and trying to, increase our sales and increase our locations that we're in is, you really got to create, 3 or 4 regulars in that lounge who smoke your cigar, who are out there promoting it on your behalf. You can, get the salesperson a little bit, or, maybe, there's some companies that pay them extra, the salespeople to sell or push their cigar. But it's really the community latching on to your brand and enjoying your brand and believing in the quality, knowing that you're going to get, a good draw, that the construction is good every time, that, there's going to be consistency. You smoke a cigar and you like it. If you go and buy it again the next time and it has a different taste, it's like, oh, what happened to the one that I liked? And so having that consistency, that goes with quality control. And, I believe believe that this company, Septimo, they've accomplished that in terms of the quality, and what you're going to get when you get a cigar from them. And so, but, it's hard work in that you got to be out there a lot, going into lounges, but it's also easy. I get to go to 4 or 5 lounges and meet, probably 30 new people every day, and I get to smoke a cigar with them and learn about who they are as a person, learn about their passions, and I get to enjoy a cigar. And so it's a well rewarded profession, but there is no easy path. And you can have the greatest cigar in the world, but it's not going to sell itself.
Yeah.
People aren't you back to being passionate about what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also, when you go in a lot of places, you ask them, and a lot of the people that work sometimes, they don't even smoke.
Yeah.
And you ask them advice, hey, which one is the best one? They'd be like, I don't know. This one is good. This one is good. But they
people like this one or that one.
Yeah.
And so, getting into it, the major brands, they get a lot of the business simply because the brand awareness. And so you have to build a brand. You have to create a following, a grassroots following. And, we've been able to create that where we have raving fans, people that are out there constantly posting and promoting the cigars, and out in lounges promoting the cigars. And they're not paid anything.
Yeah.
It was funny to me because I actually we didn't have a rep in Texas. And, as I said, I grew up in Texas. And so I said, let me go to Texas. And, so I saw revenue drop off after the rep was no longer there. And so I said, let me service the accounts. Let me try and open some new accounts, and let me try and find a broker. And so I went, in 2-week time, I went 37 different lounges, and many of them multiple times. It was a great trip. I drove there from LA, and I visited cigar lounges all along the way, and so it was just a fantastic road trip for me. But when I got back to LA, one of the lounges that I was in, I told them, we're looking for a rep in Texas, and so I got a call from one of their customers, retired gentleman. He's worth millions and millions of dollars. And he said, listen, I'd love to be your rep. You don't have to pay me anything, maybe pay me commissions on the sales, but I love your cigars. And he sent me a picture of his man cave. He's got, we create what I think are very beautiful boxes for our cigars. And he's got them all up on the wall. He's probably got 20 boxes of our cigars on his wall of our cigars that he smoked. And so he's so passionate and loves the cigar so much that he wants to go out and get other people to smoke it. The lounge that I talked to the rep, the reason they carried our cigar is because he was a member there, and he said, listen, I love this cigar. You need to get it in here for me.
Oh,
And they did, and, there's other people there that smoke now. But, I mean, and that's not an isolated incident. I mean, there are people that are very passionate. And so, if you're in this business, creating that passionate group of followers is really the key to success. And you got to,
a lot of your members, so the smokers, get the things in because, and sometimes, how we were talking about before we were shooting, there's a lot of people will introduce you to like cigars. You're like, hey, you have to smoke this cigar, and I'm going to get you one here. Smoke it.
Yeah, no, and cigar smokers are very generous. They'll buy cigars for other people because they want them to experience what they experience in terms of flavor and just enjoyment. And so they have that passion for it.
Yeah, plus a lot of people, when they're smoking, you want to, like a lot of the, you see people like you and I have friends and stuff like that when they're smoking, especially if they have a good cigar, like let's say, it's maybe more expensive, right?
Right.
Or they have their like whiskey on there. They'll have like a nice shoot of, it's almost like a photo shoot of that whole thing and then placing it on Instagram, right? So it's like almost like a promotional. If you take all the pictures that they took, you'll be like, this is a great advertising, I think that's one of the keys.
Yeah. No, and I actually started an Instagram account so that I could, chronicle kind of what I'm smoking and everything. And but it's I was going through my phone the other day. I was talking with someone, and they were asking about my kids, and I was looking for pictures of my kids to show them on my phone. And I was a little embarrassed because if you go through the picture roll in my phone, I mean, there's thousands of pictures of cigar ashes. I love the ashes. My Instagram is the Ashman DD. And so I love to build a great ash. And I look at it, oh my God, that's beautiful. I got to get a picture of that. And I had thousands of pictures of cigar ashes and, 10, 20 of my kids. And so I was embarrassed by that. I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with you?
I got to have more pictures with my kids now.
Cigars. Well, in the business of cigars, that's a given too, because I also look at the ashes too. Sometimes I'll try to get it to as long as possible.
Yep.
Like today, I just poured it out. I just didn't want to put it on the ground.
That's what happened. Yeah. It fell on the ground to me.
Yeah, so you got to make sure it doesn't.
You had a very nice ash going with that cigar, and so that's one of the things that in the beginning when I started smoking El Septimo, my favorite cigar of theirs is the Emperor Yao. Which is part of our Emperor collection. It's a torpedo shape, 60 gauge, as it creates a great ash. And so I smoke it down. I have 4 or 5 inch ash, and just all the the different shades of gray and black is it's so beautiful. Yeah. And then you find the right background. I've got pictures of sunsets with the cigars and skylines with the cigars, and
you feel like you achieved something.
Yeah,
right?
No, absolutely. It's an accomplishment.
Yeah. Some people take pictures of their food.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta take pictures of your ash.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, with marketing and stuff, like that's why I say to people, like a lot of cigar companies and stuff, they're very popular, but they're not even doing any advertising.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of companies like even with us or with everybody, they're like, how do we get popular? Like how do we get our name out there? But we don't realize that it's through people that makes the greatest impact. Rather than just advertising. You might have the best cigar, you might have the best product, you might have the best advertising. If people are not posting, especially nowadays, your products are being posted, people see it. Like, oh, what does that taste like?
Well, and it's people from all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I have followers from all over the world, and Zaya says, some of his followers say, who's this guy, the Ash Man, and how does he build an ash like that and everything? just makes me, it's humorous to me, but yeah, that's the way the social media marketing works.
My wife was like, I had ashes in Vegas, I was smoking, and I wasn't thinking. She's like, "What the hell are you doing? Just ash it out." I'm like, "No, well, I'm trying to see how big I can get it."
I mean, look at Rolls-Royce, look at Lamborghini. Those high-end car companies. How many times have you seen their commercial?
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't advertise.
They don't advertise.
Yeah,
they're people the people driving that car.
Exactly.
It's just like that brings value. I think
Luxury products they don't advertise.
That's why most of my business too. Most of my stuff comes from word of mouth.
Yeah.
We don't advertise. We have
Quality
agents and stuff.
products, quality service.
Exactly.
You'll attract, and it takes time to build up a large enough base where you reach everybody. Go from 6 degrees of separation to 4 degrees of separation to 3 degrees of separation. Pretty soon you're connected to everybody.
Yeah. Connections. I think it's, and this is the best place to. I think like cigar lounges and stuff. I think it's somewhere like man can get away.
Yeah.
No,
but I mean, women are the fastest growing category in cigar smokers now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I tell women, they say, where do I go meet a good man? I say, go to a cigar lounge. It's 70-80% men.
Older sugar daddies are there.
They tend to be more affluent. If you can afford, even a $5 cigar, if you're smoking it, 7 days a week, it's a luxury, and it's also someone who appreciates luxury. And so, in theory, there's a chance that they're going to appreciate you more because they appreciate the finer things, assuming you're a finer thing. But like I said, women, smoking. And for me, I love watching a woman smoke a cigar, cut and light a cigar. For me, it just is a magical thing for me.
Yeah.
But it's inclusive. Women come in. There's a woman I was smoking with at Malibu Cigar out in Malibu, and she had moved to Tulum, but she used to live in Malibu. And as part of her, she came back to see her parents for Thanksgiving. But she had to go to the cigar lounge that she'd been going to for 12 years to see her friends. Beautiful, 30-somethings woman, and she brought her significant other with her, who's a cigar smoker also, and they came to the lounge. I mean, that's how impactful a cigar lounge can be.
I think the stigma still is there a little bit.
A little bit,
females,
but it's it's
to go in.
Yep. No, but they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They're
intimidated.
It's not. It can be intimidating, but the cigar smokers, like I said, they're a very accommodating group. If you ask them, how do I cut this? It seems like but it's not. People will show you, this is how you cut.
Yeah, you can go ask them for their lighters.
Yeah,
you can
your
go
lighter,
ask
your cutter,
anything.
they'll cut and light it for you. They'll do anything to help you because they just, they're happy to welcome you into the community.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of to some extent we're ostracized because we can't smoke everywhere and everybody oh my God, it smells terrible, this, that, and the other. But there is a camaraderie that's created in cigar lounges, and so I can't recommend it enough for people of all ages, young and old, men and women.
Over 21, obviously.
Yeah, over 21, of course.
Now we have to be specific because everything is taken out of context.
Absolutely. I mean, there's an age for everything, but once you've reached that age, it's a great thing, and so I would encourage people, to even if you don't go in and smoke, go in, and you don't have to be smoking, in a cigar lounge, you can become part of it. I was at another lounge, a week ago, and I was talking to the owner, and he said he's got 600 members of his lounge, and he says, there's a good portion that don't smoke. They just come in to be part of that community. It's a social club, absolutely. Yeah. And so I would encourage people, but also try a cigar. You might be surprised by how it helps you in life.
Yeah, cigar doesn't have that addiction.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
I've never, for example, I've never been where maybe I'm always saying maybe I haven't done it a lot. I don't do it as often.
Right. Maybe you get addicted to relaxing.
I could be
maybe
because of the environment. I think a lot of people when they get together and, you meet the people, you meet the owners, you meet the, patrons of that place, they come in and you almost know their schedule sometimes,
right.
They're
absolutely.
like, I'm here Monday to Tuesday or Monday through Wednesday, like a lot of people are here all the time. So you're like, I'm going to meet them anyways, so I think it's like almost like the exotic car clubs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just they have their own community. They're always looking for people to kind of join them. They take pride into what they're doing.
Yeah, no, and
You
the
know?
thing about lounges is, each lounge has a little bit different culture and feel and membership. And so, if you go into a lounge and it's not the right feel for you, there's another lounge that I'm sure is.
Yeah.
And so that's the great thing about it. I mean, yeah, they'll be inviting, but maybe it's just, not your crowd.
Yeah, dynamics.
But there are other lounges, and that's why, there people travel all over. I mean, I go to lounges, and this was even before I started working for the company. My whole life I traveled to the lounges all over the world. And I'll drive. I'll drive past 3 or 4 lounges to get to the lounge, that I want to go to.
Yeah.
And because I connect with those people.
Yeah. Same thing with me. When I come, it's always here, because the connection and the way the service is and how they treat you. Of course, you want to go somewhere that you feel welcomed, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you go to places you're like, what are you guys doing? It's like, do you want me to come or you don't want me to come? Like they treat you, okay, go pick up, or they don't give you advice, right? I think that's part of the experience too. Like anything you sell is the whole experience.
Yeah.
Presentation.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing. And I've got several lounges that I go to a lot. But like Cohiba de Cuba. I mean, it's since I found it, it's my late night on my way home lounge that I stop and have one more stick if I feel like it. I usually Robert, the owner, will tell you, I usually come in here 10:30 or 11. And I'm here till 12 or 12:30 before going home.
Usually they're open late, so
yeah, they're open late here, and so it's a great last stop for me.
Yeah.
Even if it's not on my way home, I came by here a week ago. I was coming from a lounge out in Pomona. And I live in Santa Clarita, so it would have been easy for me to get on the 210 and just go north and go straight home. I live in Santa Clarita. But I decided to, stay on the 134. Come up, swing by here.
Come out this side.
Yeah, it's only 10 or 15 minutes out of the way, but because it has that feeling and
Take
it's the
away the
feeling that I want. Absolutely.
Yeah. What's the most hated lounge that? No.
Oh, there are some that and I'm not going to mention it because it doesn't matter because there's people that like that lounge. But there's some lounges that for whatever reason, just wasn't for me, and it doesn't make them good or bad. It doesn't make me good or bad. It just is. And so that's why I was saying, you'll find, if it's important to you, you'll find a lounge where the culture matches with, your ideas, beliefs, and everything. And so
you want to be somewhere you enjoy.
Yeah.
You don't want to be fighting with people, arguing with people, or
yeah, no, but I mean, the thing that I found is that which I wish in this country we would have more of, and that is adult conversations with people whose views are different than yours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's my belief that the thing that has made this country great is because we've got people that have come from all over the world, all different cultures, and mixed together. I mean, we're really we're probably not the only country, but we're the country where it's most prevalent, where everybody came from someplace else, bringing their culture with them.
Yeah.
And it's through interacting with people in different cultures with different ideas. And the best ideas come from two people who have opposing views on something, coming to an idea that satisfies them both.
Exactly.
That's the best. And so, not to get political or anything, but that's happened in this country is, the idea that if you don't agree with me, you're stupid and I hate you. I mean, that's
that is ridiculous.
the worst thing for this country.
Everything has its opposite, and the world evolves around the opposite of each other, right? Night and day.
Yeah.
Positive, negative. Even the batteries.
Yeah.
Right. You don't have two positives.
Yeah.
If it's the same ends, how are you going to get energy?
Yeah. No. And I mean, for me, the two most beautiful parts of the day, sunrise and sunset, where two opposites are coming together and creating something even more spectacular.
Absolutely.
And so, hopefully, more of that will evolve. This country. I mean, we ebb and flow. in
Yeah.
terms of politics and everything.
Changes.
But it's a great country because we have differing views.
Yeah.
If we all had the same views about something, we would have probably blown up this country a
Or
long
it'd be
time ago.
boring, I always,
Yeah.
imagine like some people when they're getting married, right? They say, you know what, I want to find somebody that's exactly like me.
You can't
Right?
have that.
How horrible is that? Because now, and then after a year or so, they find out that, hey, this is freaking boring.
Yeah, you want to do this, I want to do that, and
Yeah,
and
but
we're
they're
not going
all
to
the same.
compromise. We're not
Yeah,
going to do
even
something
if they
together.
do the same thing now, they're like doing everything the same. There's no different of opinion or different of activities, right?
Yeah.
They're doing the same boring stuff together, right? If you need somebody to kind of balance you. If you're a crazy person, you need somebody calm, right? Because if you're too crazy,
needs the crazy person. too.
exactly. Because if you're too crazy, you guys will destroy each other, and if you're too boring, you guys will be bored each other to death, right? So that's why I think a lot of times people don't understand that we need the differences. We need, even if you're getting married, you want to have somebody that is different, because
You
that
need the
person,
balance in life.
yeah, because that brings you to the mid. Your
Yeah.
high is low. Everybody comes in the middle.
Yeah, no, you
You know?
experience things that you never would have
Yeah.
experienced by doing things with someone who's different.
I just don't understand. A lot of times people say, "Oh yeah, he's exactly like me," and I know that they're not going to survive. And after a year, you see no pictures of them on the line, or they see themselves like, Usually I say, those perfect couples, where every time they're doing the same thing, and then all of a sudden they're like, "What happened?"
Yeah, no, perfection's a mirage.
Exactly. So that's the thing. Before, I was going to ask you another thing. Kind of, we drifted, and that's what we do, and we love talking to different things, not the specifics. But as far as what was I going to say?
By the way, how are you enjoying those cigars?
Oh, it's
Loving it.
amazing.
Good.
Yeah, actually, I don't. The only other one that I smoke is the White Series for Monte Cristo.
Mhm.
After we're done, I'm walking into the room.
Yeah, no, they've got them here.
Yeah, Monte Cristo is the White Series. Is
Yep.
That one. I will say, you know what? This is probably, I will say, it's smoother.
Mm-hmm.
It's better. That one is a little bit more dark, even though it's the mid.
Right.
Like I
Yep.
like. But this, I usually can't smoke almost everything, or like,
Yeah.
for a longer time, because it's just. It
Too harsh.
fills me, right? Yeah, I will become full.
Yeah,
you
no,
know, and
It's
I
it's
know
it's
if
like
I-
food.
Yeah, if I smoke, I know if I smoke a little bit more, I'm gonna it's gonna take me to a next level, which I don't want. It
Yep.
starts like your insides go nuts. But I was gonna say something. I'm trying to remember, and we edited this part. Damn it, man!
It's okay.
If you
By
have
the time
anything,
you think,
yeah.
a lot of people say that a lighter color on the cigar, it means that it's a lighter smoke.
Not true.
That's what I wanted to get it out.
Yeah, not true. The Connecticut wrapper, while by itself is a little lighter. It depends on the filler. It depends on the binder. You can have and also, you can have a very strong, and when I say strong, I'm really referring to the amount of nicotine that's in it. That you won't think that it's a strong cigar. And a lot of what goes into that is the blending.
Yeah.
If you blend it right, it's going to be a smooth, tasty cigar. And also the size doesn't necessarily dictate the length of time it's going to take you to smoke. We've got one that's a double shot, very flavorful cigar, 70 gauge, so it's a big round cigar, but it's only 3.5 inches long. It's an hour and a half smoke.
Oh wow.
Wow.
You look at it, oh my God, I'm going to smoke that through that real quick. But what affects that? And when we do our blending, we blend it such that it's going to be an hour to an hour and a half smoke. And the way you adjust that, where you get, a Royal Salomon, which is like 9 inches long, that it's an hour and a half smoke. And we've got, the Toro that, is an hour and a half smoke.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is you put tobacco in there that is that burns quicker, or you put tobacco in there that burns slower, and so that affects how long it takes to smoke it.
Interesting.
is the way you blend the tobacco, and what's in it determines, the flavors. It determines how long it's going to take to smoke. There's so many things that go into the blending, which, not everybody knows about, not everybody talks about. But it's a critical part of it. I mean, you have some cigars that, it seem like they're very strong, and they've got less nicotine in them, but it's simply because of the way they were blended, either by design or by accident, to create that stronger feeling.
Yeah. Takes so much more than the IME.
Yeah, you just can't, grab tobacco off the shelf and roll it together and smoke it. I mean, you can, but it's may not and probably will not be the best version of smoking that tobacco.
Yeah, and it's how it's rolled too, right? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
the
if
rolling
holds
affects
up
it. Yeah,
pretty well,
Yep.
and if you have cigars, sometimes you smoke cigars, you can, it goes a little bit, maybe an inch,
Yep.
it just falls apart.
Yep.
So
No, that's a construction, and making sure that the leaves that you have in the cigar, that you're not getting knots in them and the veins and different things like that affect the way it burns and the way it smokes and plugs and different things like that. And we buy the best tobacco on the market, aged tobacco. We have some cigars that have 15-year plus aged tobacco, and so it's not something that you rush. Just like smoking it, you're not smoking it when you're in a rush. When you go to make them, you don't want to be in a rush. And so it takes, having the financial resources behind you to be able to either grow and age it. You grow something today, but you're not gonna roll it for 15 years. You're just gonna sit on it. And there's growers out there, and there's places where that's what they do. They have different tobaccos that they sell at different times in order to get that aging of the tobacco. And so, I mean, to some extent, I got all excited. I was at a lounge out in Santa Clarita, and they had, which was good for me, but bad in general. They had a cigar, actually the double shot, which is the cigar that Zaya smoked that caused him to fall in love with the cigar company, that probably had been sitting there for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
But I was excited about it because now it's got 3 years more aging on top of the original 15 years plus the all that. And so, it was just a great smoke. And so it had more flavors because of the aging.
Just like wine, right? So
just like wine.
anything aged, I guess it's
No, good wine and good cigars and good tobacco, as it ages, it gets better.
yeah.
If it's bad, it
Never
gets
gets
worse.
It's about the tobacco itself that's using it. That's why a lot of times when we smoke, even when I smoke somewhere, like if somebody gives me something or they have it, I might not even take it.
Right.
Because if I don't know the brand or I don't know where the cigarette's coming,
Yeah.
and
No,
it's
the thing about it that, and Zayed talks about this is, he says if he goes to somebody's house and they offer him, a whiskey or a wine or something that isn't very good, and he knows it's very good, he's like, okay, I'll be a good guest and I'll just take it and I'll drink it because I know that, I'm going to extract it from my body in a couple hours.
Yeah.
With a cigar, it's different because it affects you differently. You don't, it doesn't come out when you go to the bathroom. And so it, directly affects your body. And so if they have a cigar that he, either has had a bad experience with in the past or, he's not sure about it, he'll turn it down. And I'm the same way. I get offered cigars all the time, being in lounges and things like that. And I say, respectfully, give it to someone who will appreciate it. If you give it to me, I'm going to give it to somebody else. But I'd rather you, get the joy of giving it to someone who's going to enjoy it. And that's not me saying that it's not a great cigar. But for me, I've found the brand that my body has told me is the brand for me. And so this is all I smoke.
Because you react differently and you react to it.
No, absolutely.
That's the same way I am. Like I can't. Sometimes I'll do it, and then when you take the first puff.
No, and I tell most people, try other cigars, but if you light it up, and if in the first half inch you don't like it, put it out.
Yeah.
Don't smoke it. That your body's telling you don't like it, so put it out. There's always another one there.
Yeah.
You know, a different brand, different things.
It's going to be not. It's
And
not
so-
going to be pretty. you
But
know?
but listen to your body. I mean, don't
Yeah.
just fight through a cigar that you're not enjoying. That's
Yeah.
you know, that defeats the purpose of smoking a cigar.
I learned the bad way. So
I think I'm gonna start looking for a toothpick so I can smoke it until the end.
I make fun of people that do that.
Why is that?
Well, I grew up in Texas, and so I'm a man. It's if I'm going to enjoy the best part, which is the last, you know, kind of inch and a half of the cigar, I burn my fingers. Okay, yeah, put up with it. I'm a man. I can do that.
there has to be some pain
Yeah.
with smoking,
Yeah.
right?
For
No
me,
pain, no
for me,
gain.
I mean, but there's lots of people, and there's
Well,
lots of
beauty has pain.
accessories.
Yeah.
There's accessories out there, you know, that we sell. You know, that people do it and they do it. It just looks a little dainty to me. I'm not a dainty smoker.
It's like men up, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry, I won't get toothpick.
You can if that's you, if that's
No,
what you want
fine,
to
I'll just
portray to the
burn
world.
my
then-
fingers.
It
You're
doesn't
more
make you
bougie,
good or
right?
bad.
We have a partner. He's the bougie one, so we always make fun of it. But yeah, like a lot of, I mean, all the good things come, with a little bit of pain,
That's
know,
right.
so all the good stuff. So that's why I think at the end, a lot of people are like, are you still smoking? Like sometimes it'll be like here.
Yeah, no, I smoke it to the nub.
Yeah.
Always.
It's like sometimes you see them like, with what do they call it? Is it probably tweezers?
Yep.
Yeah.
The roach clip or whatever that they use for marijuana. Yeah.
Just the last puff. It's always a good thing. I think we're gonna be ending, but before we end, what is some of the things that you want to leave our viewers with? Not only the business, but the things that may, like, what advices that you want, and the end, kind of like,
Yeah.
push, if somebody's thinking of doing it, somebody thinking of being in the business, or even just creating a brand, right?
Right.
What are the things that it takes for somebody even to try? And I know it's probably one of the difficult.
Yeah, no, it's, but, all great things in life are difficult. And so, I'll start with, something that I did a diatribe about is that, you are enough. Start with you are enough. As a person, you are enough. And the next thing is what is your passion? If you have a passion for cigars, in terms of wanting to be in this business, follow your passion. And everything is possible. Time and effort, everything is possible. And so if you're passionate about it, pursue it. But pursue something that brings you joy. Fight through the struggles, because there's going to be struggles. I'm excited when, a problem or a challenge comes up, because I know, listen, I got this. I can do this. And the joy that comes from overcoming those struggles, is just a great joy. And for me, and lots of people, and so I would, people that haven't tried it, I would encourage them, listen, this may be something that helps bring joy to your life, brings peace to your mind, that allows you to do the things that you need to do to overcome those struggles. And in terms of marketing, you got to be out there, and you got to try new things. I'm constantly looking for new ways for us to help lounges to make money. And I tell lounges when I go in there, I said, my goal is to make you more money. If I make you more money, then I'm going to make more money. I believe in there. And so it's not about me making money. It's about me helping you to make more money. And so for me, I look at it, and there's two ways that I've identified, and I hope there's more, but I know two ways. One is to attract more customers. The other is to get your customers to spend a little bit more money, and I think us as a brand, that we're able to answer those calls, in terms of, we've got, not only the cigars, but we got the wine, we got the spirits, we've got fashion. I mean, this is our summer smoking jacket, a linen jacket.
I like your
that's
jacket.
got holders for the cigars. We're looking for other ways to help lounge owners make money, which I believe will differentiate us from the other cigar brands. There's other cigar brands out there that are very good brands. They're great brands. And so I've got to find ways to get people to smoke our cigars. And what I tell people, and I started in Malibu. The guys in there, they have their cigars that they like to smoke, and the typical cigar smoker in America, they're smoking on a daily basis a cigar that's between $10 and $20. Yeah. Which we've got several cigars in that range, but we got lots more cigars that are more expensive than that. And so I say, listen, okay, your daily smoke, between $10 and $20, but once a week, smoke something a little bit more expensive. Try something a little bit more. Once a month, try something a little bit more expensive. Try, once a year, your anniversary, birthday, smoke something even more expensive. Try the different things that are out there. And for the lounge owner, that equates to them making a little bit more money.
Yeah.
But for the consumer, it's, getting the pleasure of trying something, rewarding yourself. When they say, oh, no, I don't want to spend that much money, I would say, I'm not telling you to spend it every day, but aren't you worth it?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I believe you're worth it. And a lot of times I say, listen, I believe you're worth it, so I'm going to go buy you this cigar. And I go and I buy this cigar for them and let them smoke it. When you want to celebrate something, or when you're going through a tough time, doing something special for yourself that's the answer to both of those situations.
Exactly.
And so, that's what I believe, and that's how I live my life. I have a very blessed life. And I appreciate you guys inviting me in here. But the thing that people should know, these are the conversations that we had today. I've had these same conversations 100 times in cigar lounges around the world.
When you say that, I just remembered what I was going to say. What's one of the craziest conversation, or the most intriguing, I will say, conversation that you had being in this business?
Oh, I mean, it's not necessarily in the business, but smoking cigars. I've met women from all over the world who are fascinated with men smoking cigars. I'll never forget being on the terrace of the Hotel de Paris in Monaco, meeting the Miss Slovakia, and she came up to me because she was intrigued by me smoking a cigar. And that led to interesting conversations. The smoking experience with Milton Berle. I was a 23, 24-year-old kid, and I'm talking with this legend in the entertainment industry. Because we're smoking a cigar together. Ron Perlman. I've met several billionaires. Wayne Huizenga. I smoked a cigar with him, and he was such an amazing man and generous man. And I was 30 years old when I had that conversations, meeting Zaya, who's a self-made billionaire, and getting to know him because of cigars. And people from all ethnicities, connecting over it. And so the conversations that, they're all over the spectrum, from things that we can't talk about, explicit stories and conversations, and with men and women, that we've had, to business and getting insight on business and being able to close deals. I got one businessman who says, whenever he's having a hard time with a banker, that he's raising money for a project, and the banker's not buying into his situation, he says, why don't we go downstairs and take a break and we smoke a cigar? And he gets them smoking a cigar. Next thing he knows, they're giving him all the terms that he wanted. And so, it's such a great thing. And the conversations have been, political conversations. Crazy enough, I was with some friends, some people that I had met at an event just a week ago, and I made the joke, towards the end of the night, okay, we've talked about religion and we've talked about politics. What does everybody think about abortion? And so we got into that. We had a very interesting conversation about that with people on both sides of the aisle for that. And so the conversations go everywhere, or have the ability to go everywhere, because you're comfortable with who you're with, and so you're comfortable exposing who you are and what you feel. And in most situations, it comes without judgment. You may not agree with me, and I may not agree with you. Yeah. But I don't, I'm not cross about it.
I guess cigar bridges everything. Right?
Yes. Greatest product ever created.
Yeah, exactly. Greg, do you have anything?
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the cigar. Enjoyed
with that,
the wine,
we'll
enjoyed the
continue on
company.
smoking our cigars. But thank you for joining us. And if you guys want to find out, we'll have all the things posted on there as well, so they can find you guys as well. You know, actually, I wanted to know about the wine too. Which region is this wine from?
It's Saint Emilion Grand Cru, which is in the Bordeaux region of France. I'm not a big wine person, although I enjoy
Yeah,
this
it's
wine.
very
I just
tasty.
have never been gotten into wine, and I don't drink a lot of spirits either. But I'm told that Saint Emilion is thought of as one of the best wine growing regions in the world. Right now, we're the second largest producer in terms of volume of bottles that comes out of the Saint Emilion Grand Cru area. And we're about ready to acquire another vineyard there that will make us the largest producer in the Saint Emilion Grand Cru region. And so but again, it's about blending, finding that right mixture. And Zaya's, kind of the head of all that. And, I credit it to, he was educated as an engineer. And so he approaches all of this as a scientist, as an engineer, starting, okay, what's the outcome we want, and how do we reverse engineer to get to the output that we're looking to have. And he does that with the wines, and has had great success with that as well. He's gotten lots of awards, decanter awards, and different of the rating agencies for wines. He's gotten very high ratings, 90 plus ratings on many of his different wines. And so it's fantastic. For me, before I met Zion, I had no idea, and he's taught me so much about many things luxury. I don't think I ever drank white wine in my life.
Yeah, it's
I'd had
delicious wine,
red
actually.
wines, and I enjoyed them, and I've been to many dinners, business and personal, where they order a great expensive bottle of wine. I was like, oh, give me just a little taste of that because I want to experience it. But for me, I pair everything with Coca-Cola. But I do enjoy white wine with cigars.
No, it was delicious. Actually,
so-
it was
very good.
very nice blend. Thank you for being with us, and I also, of course, we want to thank Cohiba de Cuba for allowing us to use their lounge. It's a perfect setting for our celebration as well for the 10th hour that we did. And thank you.
Well, pour yourselves a little more wine. We need to do a
Hopefully-
cheers before we go.
Exactly, and
in
thank
celebration
you
of
for
your
having a
10th your 10th edition. Hopefully you'll have many, many, many more 10th editions to come. Cheers. Thank you
Being
for
with
your
us.
company. I enjoyed it. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you and appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.